there were these two shoe salesmen. They were sent by the company to a very remote island out in the Pacific to sell some shoes. When they arrived at the island, they decided to split up forces. One would canvass the left side of the island to sell shoes, the other would canvass the right side of the island to sell some shoes. After 2 weeks, the one emailed back to company headquarters in New York, and his email said this: "I am coming home. No one here wears shoes." The other one, after 2 weeks of canvassing the left side of the island, sent an email back to company headquarters. And the email read, "Send more salespeople, quick. No one here has shoes." You see, how we respond to things in life is based upon attitude. Attitude is extremely important. That is the key point of today's gospel reading, coming out of the 6th chapter of John, verses 1 to 15. Now, in today's gospel reading that I just read, there are three main characters: Jesus, Philip, Andrew. And all three of these men are faced with a problem. And how they address the problem, either the problem that will be solved or the problem will continue based upon the attitude that they have in solving and dealing with the problem. Let's take a look at verse 4 and 5 of the 6th chapter of John. Verse 5 says this: "When Jesus raised his eyes, he saw the large crowd coming to him. And he said to Philip, where can we buy food for them to eat?" Now, clearly, when you look at that, what we know is this: Philip was standing in close proximity to Jesus, because he doesn't have to yell at Philip. He doesn't have to say to Philip, "Come on over here." He simply looks at Philip and asks him that question: where we're going to buy food for them to eat, because he can see a large crowd. Now, this question demands action on a part of Philip. Jesus is saying to Philip, "You know, we got this problem. What's your idea? Do you have any solution? How should I handle this?" Let's take a look at what kind of response Philip decides to give to Jesus. This is verse 5b to verse 7, 6th chapter of John. Again, that question Jesus is asking Philip: where can we buy food enough for them to eat? And he, Jesus, said this to test Philip, because he himself knew what he was going to do. And this is Philip's response. Philip answered him, 200 days' wages with the food would not be enough for them, each of them, to have a little. What kind of answer is that? What is Philip doing to help Jesus in dealing with this problem? Philip is being passive. He's being apathetic. But Philip is basically saying, I have no idea. I have no solution. I have no idea. I'm not going to think about an idea. Jesus, these are your people. Try to figure out, do something. Philip isn't much help. He's got a negative attitude. He's not scratching, he's not clawing, he's not putting any thought into this. He's just basically saying, it is your problem. I have no idea what to do. Everything changes by the time we get to verse 8. Let's take a look at verse 8. Verse 8 and 9 says this: "Now one of his disciples," that's Jesus' disciple Andrew, the brother Simon Peter, said to Jesus, "There's a boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what good are these for so many?" That's a powerful 2 phrases. Because here's what happens. Jesus never asked Andrew for his opinion. Jesus asked Philip for his opinion. Jesus said to Philip, "What are we going to do?" But Andrew saw there was a problem. And Andrew went to Jesus to try to do something. He said to Jesus, "I'm not sure what we're going to do, but there is this boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. What good is that for so many? But we have some food." You see, he presents a little solution. He's saying to Jesus, I'm not exactly too sure what we're going to do, but here's something to work with. What a great attitude. Andrew's the kind that said, look, I'm not going to be passive. I'm not going to wait for Jesus to come to me. I'm going to go to him and I'm going to say, Jesus, I'm going to scratch and claw. We're in this boat together. We're going to try to figure out this issue together. I do know about this little boy that has a little bit of food. What can we do? And as the story is told, we're not going to look at the rest of the gospel, but what happens? Jesus takes that and he feeds 5,000 men. That's an incredible miracle. You see, in life, we reap what we sow. What does that mean? That means when you wake up in the morning, if you say to yourself, I'm going to have a bad day, you're probably going to have a bad day. If you wake up in the morning, the first thing that happens when you get out of bed, you stub your toe. And then you make coffee and you spill it. And then you can't find your car keys. Some people will say at that very point, it's going to be a horrible day, and they usually become the prophets of their future because it turns out to be a horrible day. Because you will interpret everything that happens to you that day based upon the misfortune of the morning. Instead of just saying, well, that never happens. I usually never stub my toe. I never spill my coffee. I always have my car keys. If you have a more positive attitude, you're going to have a more positive day. You're going to be a prophet of your future. How important it is to have that happen. Psychologists say the life is 10% what happens to you and 90% on how you respond to it. Nate, I remember many years ago when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And we were talking to the oncologist, and the oncologist was explaining to us the chemotherapy regimen he was going to offer to her. And after he explained to us the chemotherapy he was going to use and the duration of the chemotherapy, we asked I thought the obvious question. Doctor, how effective is this chemotherapy against the cancer that she has? And he gave what I thought was a very unique answer. He said it all depends. Now, that was an answer I wasn't thinking he'd give us. I thought he'd say this stuff is really good. That's why we're going to use it. But he said when asked the question, how effective is this chemotherapy? It all depends. Well, that led us to the most obvious question. When that answer is given to you, we ask the question, well, doctor, it all depends on what? On what? And this was the answer he gave us, but as he looked to her. And he said to my mom, it all depends on your attitude. If you believe that this chemotherapy is going to work, if you want to live and you want to survive, you can do everything you can to make this thing work, it will be greatly enhanced in its effectiveness. But if your attitude is, it's probably not going to work, too bad I got cancer, I'm just doomed, nothing's going to help me out, my future, my fate is sealed, he said then its effectiveness is greatly reduced, very minimized. And he was right. Because she had this incredible positive attitude. When she was first diagnosed with cancer, she was given a prognosis of 6 months to live from the date of diagnosis. And she lived 7 years beyond those 6 months. Because, obviously, the good Lord, coupled, I believe, with a positive attitude to live, to fight it, to survive. That's the essence of the gospel reading. Philip doesn't offer Jesus anything. Andrew said, Jesus, there's something. There's this little fella here with some 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. At least it's something. What can you do with it, Jesus? And now we know what Jesus did. Andrew gave him something to work with. Attitude. Changes everything in life. If you find yourself struggling, you find that, and this happens to a lot of people at various times in life, various times during the course of a day. But if you just find that you need an attitude adjustment, you just say to yourself, you know, one of my biggest problems in life is I just walk around with a bad attitude. I just need an attitude adjustment. I have to be positive. Because being negative isn't helping me out. It's not working for me. Tonight when you say your prayers, tomorrow morning wake up and say your prayers. As you start the day tomorrow, Heavenly Father, allow me the gift of a good attitude. Allow me to look at the bright side of things. Even if it be a day of rain tomorrow or a day of sunshine, the weather is not and should not affect my disposition. Heavenly Father, give me the gift of a good attitude, of a good disposition. Allow me to be the salesman who says, quick, send more help. No one here wears shoes. Rather than the salesman who says, I'm coming home. No one here has shoes.